Welcome back to Saturday Social, where we are joined by Robbie and Ben. Right, Joe, there's been a lot of transfers doing
early
rounds,
doors.
isn't it? It is early doors. January transfer window is fast approaching, so is Christmas, by the way. It's coming soon quick, isn't it? Need to get those presents in. Anyway, that is a separate story. The likes of Guehi, Semenyo, Toney being spoken about gave us a little idea for this section.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to look at some of the biggest rumours we've seen so far ahead of that January window. And we're going to approach it from the player's perspective. Should that player stay at his current club in the January window, or should he go? We'll start with Antoine Semenyo, because there's big rumours about him this week off the back of a David Ornstein article. £65 million release clause that becomes active. Ben, if you were him, where would you potentially be looking at going, and what would you be thinking?
I mean, I think if someone in January is serious and activates that release clause, which I think there's going to be a fair few teams in the queue looking to do that, it's going to be very hard for him to turn that opportunity down. But then again, you could argue that it's with the quality of player that he is, and if he can put it together over the course of a season, people are still going to be there in the summer. That's not going to go away. Antoine Semenyo is one of the best wingers in the Premier League and has been over the course of the last year. So it's difficult to say from his perspective what the right move is in January, but it is going to be very hard for him to turn down a move if one of the big boys comes calling, especially if, say, Liverpool want to try and reignite their title bid and go, right, we need a top-class lights-out left wing, let's go and get you, or Man City the same, if they can say, right, this is what's going to push us to get even closer to Arsenal potentially, or even Arsenal, because I think he is an Arsenal fan, isn't he? I think you spoke about that before, so it'd be hard. It'd be hard for him to turn down.
He is, as reports suggest, has been linked with Arsenal, Spurs, Man City and Liverpool. There's various reports saying that all of those clubs are interested, unsurprisingly, because he's been unbelievable. Where do you think... this is a silly question to ask Rob, isn't it? Where do you think the best fit would be? Are you just going to say Arsenal with your Arsenal
I would say Arsenal,
for the
actually.
player and the way he plays, do you think Arsenal's the best fit?
I would say Arsenal just because he'd probably start at Arsenal. Because to me, if you're going to move to start. If you go to City, you're not starting. You're going to be used sparingly. If you go to Liverpool, I don't think he's going to start ahead of Gakpo. So
Really?
maybe... not initially. I don't think he would initially start. So I think at Arsenal, he would probably start in that position. So, but for me, I'd stay if I was him. I agree with what you're saying. Like, at the end of the season, all these teams will come for you anyway. I guess the only thing is Champions League, innit? If you're a player, you're playing at Bournemouth, all right, you're doing well.
Potential to win a league title if he goes to a major club as well?
Yeah, potential to win a league title, potential to play in the Champions League. That's big for a player. So if it's any of those four, even though I'm saying to him, no, actually, if it's any of those four, he's got to go, innit? Really,
you just changed your mind there, OK.
I've actually just changed my mind because I'm thinking Champions League.
Right, OK.
Where do you think is the best tactical fit for him? Robbie mentioned there that he didn't think he'd start for Liverpool. Where do you think it works?
I actually think he really worked well for Spurs, to be honest. I know, of course, I'm going to say that. I think he's the sort of winger that Thomas Frank would love, and that's not just down to his quality, it's how hard he works, how direct he is, a real genuine goal threat as well, which I think is something that, as good as Kudus has been on that right-hand side, we are missing goals in that front line. And he's, is he still the second top goal contributor behind Haaland this season? So Tottenham, I think, would be a really good fit for him.
And there's no disrespect, mean it as no disrespect. But if you've got those four teams that you just said after you, right, and Tottenham are one of them, then you hold out till the summer.
But your argument there was based on if he's going to start, and that's why you put him... And you said he wouldn't start for Man City, Liverpool, but he would start for Tottenham.
All right, yeah, OK, but long-term, your long-term career you're looking at, if... I said, no disrespect to you.
You think in trophies and stuff?
Yeah, if you want to play for... And a bigger club. If you've got those clubs after you, why would you go to Spurs?
Well, Ben made the point they've actually won a trophy.
Yeah, we actually have won a trophy. But
He wants to play in the Champions League.
We are in the Champions League.
Yeah, but are you going to win that?
Well, we'll see. No, we're not. We're not going to win the Champions League. You're not taking Spurs are not going to win the Champions League.
If you want for your future, you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City in for you.
Yeah.
Why would you go to Spurs? That's just...
I think there's... I don't think he... Obviously, those teams are better than us right now and ahead of us in the pecking order. But I don't... If Spurs came in and those other sides maybe looked elsewhere potentially, I think he would...
If they looked elsewhere, but if all four of them are interested or all four of them want him, why would you go to...
all four will make a bid in Jan?
I don't know. I'm going off of what you guys said hypothetically, right? But let's just say they all were serious.
Yeah.
Why would you go to Spurs?
Can Arsenal do that with the money they spent in the summer, though? I know Berta's quite good at pulling some levers.
But if they were...
If they were, and again, like I said, I know
if you were him and you're not a Spurs fan and all of those clubs are in for you, would you go to Spurs?
I'd go, probably not, no.
But either way,
go to Man
are we
City.
all in agreement that potentially he...
Where do you, for the
if
debate,
the offers are there, or where are you putting him? Let's make a decision.
I'm actually going to go, for me, because all of those clubs are in the
Okay.
I think it's going to be... Yeah, I'd agree. I just think it's going to be too hard for him to maybe turn.
He would be frightening in that Arsenal team, wouldn't he? Semenyo.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
wanna talk
Semenyo
about
done. Slightly agree with Go. Let's move on to the next one, which is an interesting one. We've got Ivan Toney. Robbie's got the magnet, obviously, at Al Ahly. Linked with a potential move back. We know Thomas Frank has a relationship with him from his Brentford days. What would you do if you're Ivan Toney? Now, the interesting thing I think with this one is, obviously, he's made that move. He'd have to take a hit financially because he's obviously being very well rewarded financially in that league. But you look back to the last England squad. England had one recognised number 9 in Harry Kane. Now, we know he's going to start. There's no one anywhere near his level. But if you're looking at that reserve, the second choice England striker for the squad, presumably we're going to take another one, if not 2 players.
Yeah.
If he was to come back to the Prem, surely that would aid his chances of being in the World Cup.
Does the manager, though, because he didn't really give him a chance, did he, when he came in? I don't know.
He did pick him in the first squad, though, right?
Picked
him in the squad, didn't play.
He was in the squad.
No,
Does that, to me, only if you think you're going to get into that England team.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of money.
Do you not think ability-wise? He's got a chance of making that?
Of course,
and that helps if he came back to the Prem.
I was really disappointed when he didn't get selected to play a game.
Yeah.
I was like, you brought him all the way from Saudi, give him a game, and I do think I get a bit worried about us not playing players as a backup to Kane, because obviously Kane's our number 1 and he's a brilliant player, world-class player. But what if he got injured? It can happen.
So would you have him at Spurs?
We've got a lot of strikers.
Yeah.
I think Toney would be an upgrade probably on Richarlison right now. I think he's had a frustrating start to the season despite some of the goals that he scored. Kalumawani is still trying to find his feet. Do you give more of an opportunity to someone like Matisse Tell? Or do you bank on the fact that someone like Harry Kane might return in the summer without release clause potentially? Who knows? Probably not. But I'd go.
Definitely not.
I'd go. Well, you never know. I think I probably would. Tony does know where the goal is, and I do think, like we saw from an England perspective, was it the Slovakia game where Bellingham scored the equaliser, the overhead kick in the Euros a couple of summers ago? Tony was instrumental when he came on in that game. He helped turn that game around.
That's what I mean.
And obviously we've got Watkins that we could potentially turn to as well, but he's only got 1 goal in 15 games so far this season. So I think if he wants to get a chance for England, which I think there is an opportunity, even though, like you said, Tuchel has picked him and not given him an opportunity. I think it's worth the risk to come back, go to somewhere. I probably would, on a 6-month loan,
If
the opportunity is there to get into the England squad for that World Cup, yes, I would go if I was.
There'll be teams all sniffing around him as well.
For context as well, 23 goals in 30 appearances in the Saudi Pro League. I know it's not the Premier League and there's different levels of ability there, but 23 and 30, only Ronaldo with more. You're not
No. Let's talk about Elliot Anderson.
I went to Saudi. I went to a game, right? It was all right. It was not. I mean, it weren't Mickey Mouse. It's not the Premier League, but it weren't far off certain leagues when I went to a game. I went to Al Nassr, Al Riyadh, and it was all right.
Let's talk about the next player on the list, which is Elliot Anderson. And now I can see a lot of Nottingham Forest fans at home screaming at their TV here. I think this, for me, is extremely unrealistic.
Yeah.
That he is allowed to leave Forest, given that they're in a powerful contractual situation and are in the midst of a relegation battle. Surely this is an obvious stay.
And also there's been a lot of reports valuing him in the region of 100 mil, so you think that would be very unlikely. But also, let's look at it from his perspective, because you're right, Forest fans won't like us bringing this name to the table. But from his perspective, he's gone into the England squad where people have gone, oh, Anderson's in the squad. He's now looking like a potential starter because he's been so good with those multiple Man of the Match awards. Is the best fit for him to stay
100%.
and nail that place?
I think
in the
so.
England team?
Tuchel said, didn't he, that he sees Anderson and Rice like ahead of the other guys in that kind of pecking order at the moment. And I think Anderson, although Forest aren't in the best position right now, he's still going to be playing in Europe, still going to be playing in the Premier League week in, week out. He's still been outstanding for them. So why would you risk, even though I think there's a lot of teams in the Premier League that he would walk into at the moment with the skill set that he offers in terms of the line-breaking passing, but also hoovering the ball up, winning the ball back. Why would you risk disrupting that momentum going into a World Cup, even though he'd probably start?
I agree. Definitely stay. And just like what you said with Semenyo, there'll be teams for you.
Yeah, it's not going to go away.
Robbie, just quickly, does he start for you if everyone's fit in the first game of the World Cup for England?
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yes.
The next player...
Next up.
We've got Carlos Baleba. Rumours continue to circulate about his future, but maybe not having his best season so far in a Brighton shirt.
In and out.
Where do you guys stand?
Yeah, he's been in and out. He's been underwhelming when he has played. Obviously, there was a lot of chat about Man United in the summer. This is a difficult one to say from his perspective because I think maybe you get the sense that he might not be that happy at Brighton. He might have thought he was going to get that move in the summer. So if there is an opportunity for him to go in January, he should probably look to take that.
Depends where, though.
True. Are they going to get the same amount of money kind of offered on the table in January what they were getting in the summer, especially when his performances have kind of been on a bit of a downward trend? But from his perspective, maybe you look at it and go, OK, yeah, I'm not getting the... this isn't for me anymore. I feel like I should have moved on. Even though he might be wrong in terms of his mentality to do that, I suppose, when he's not really backed it up with the performances. But
he was excellent against us in the Carabao Cup. I thought I was really, really impressed with him. For me, I'd stay.
Stay, hold it out.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd stay.
Okay.
The only thing is, though, I would say because I think in the summer, right, there was people bigging up Elliot Anderson, but Baleba's stocks were definitely higher than Anderson's in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think the conversation was Baleba and Wharton, like those two. Whereas I feel like now, as to who could get that £100 million midfield move as that kind of number 6, whereas now I feel like Baleba has dropped quite a bit down that kind of pecking order, even though there's still potential there. And it's now Anderson and Wharton that are going to be at the forefront of a lot of clubs' minds.
Yeah.
So Baleba, if there's an opportunity in January that might not then get there in the summer if Anderson and Wharton continue to perform at the level.
Interesting point. Glad you mentioned Wharton. Joe knows I love Adam Wharton. I talk about him every week. But from one Palace player to another, Marc Guehi. Big thanks, mate. Big talking point, Marc Guehi. Obviously, we know deadline day. That was the story of deadline day, wasn't it? The collapse move to Liverpool. Interesting reports this week. We know that there's some other clubs in for him. But Crystal Palace believe only Liverpool may attempt to buy Guehi in January. That was interesting that came out this week. Obviously not signing a new contract. It looks like he will leave. As to which club and when is what we don't know. Yeah. Do you think from a player's perspective he should stay or go in January?
Listen, I think if it weren't for his contract situation, I'd be advising him to stay because you're playing every week and it's a World Cup year. You don't want to go to a club where maybe you don't start some games. So for me, if it weren't for his contract's up at the end of the season, he hasn't renewed it, so he has to go. But otherwise, I would have said to him, stay, because it's this World Cup year, you want to be playing.
But on that... He just stay and leave for free?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. He could do, but I think Palace, they want the money in it. They don't want him to leave. They already said they don't want him leaving for free.
Yeah.
But this is from the player's perspective, don't forget. You're saying about he might not start another clubs, but the club that he's most heavily linked with is Liverpool. Surely he starts there.
Does he?
The interest
you've got Konate and Van Dijk. I mean, if they hit form...
I think the way that Konate's been playing this season, I think Guehi will go in there. I think he's a bit more reliable, a bit more solid. I think Guehi will go in there and start. But I think from his perspective, like, the plethora of options, like you said, if Liverpool are going to be the only team that apparently want to buy him in January, he could have Bayern Munich, Real Madrid... knocking at his door potentially for the summer. Yeah. Barcelona is like a pre-contract thing in Jan, because he'll have 6 months in Jan, right? So you could argue that he's better off, again, a little bit like Elliot Anderson, although the contract situations are different, just keeping that momentum going, guaranteeing first-team football every single week at Crystal Palace to potentially stick around for a bit.
Yeah, but I think if he's definitely, and Liverpool are coming, I think that'd be good.
What do you say, stay or go, Robbie?
Go. If it's Liverpool, that'd be a good...
I reckon stay, I reckon stick around for 6 months.
Should we give Robbie this one and Ben the next one?
I mean, I can see it from that perspective, so yeah.
Go on, let's put him up.
Robbie has the say on this one.
Robbie,
Any
you can have the say on this one.
We'll give you the one, next one.
Yeah.
You go.
Kobbie Mainoo, next.
Yeah.
Rumours continue to circulate about his future, obviously not getting a lot of game time at Manchester United, kind of competing with Bruno for that role, according to Ruben.
Has to go, man.
He needs to be playing football, doesn't he? I think that you could view it through the lens of, like, he needs to be playing football to have a chance of going to the World Cup, but I even think if he gets a good 6-month loan somewhere, I think he's probably too far down the pecking order for that. But I even just think from his own perspective, get back in the rhythm of playing every single week, because United are only in one competition. Yeah. Or they're not in Europe, sorry, so there's not going to be that much rotation.
Not in the EFL either.
Well, yeah, true, yeah. So I think he's got, even if he hasn't got a chance to the World Cup, which I don't think he does at this moment, I still think he has to go.
He has to go. I feel so sorry for this player, right? Yeah. I mean, being at the Euros, watching him play.
Started the final.
Remember, he was brilliant, and I was looking at him thinking, this guy's the future of England, and definitely United have got such a good player on their hands, and he never plays. And like you said, even now he's probably so far down the pecking order he won't go. I think it's been very harsh on him because he's such a talented player.
But with this
especially when he's looking around and seeing all these other young players playing.
Yeah,
he's going to have to go. He has to go and try and see if he can fight his way into that squad.
Do you think he can if he goes? So you think if he has a loan move in Jan, he can force his way back into the squad?
You're probably right. It's probably going to come too late because now, we're having so much discussions about that midfield. And, even Bellingham might be a risk to not go and stuff like that, which would be crazy. But to me, it's probably too late. But I do feel that, he has to go and play football.
So you're saying has to go, Ben? You agree with that?
Has to go, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see where he ends up. Should we do one more quickly?
Yeah, we've got time for one more.
Richarlison,
Stay, man.
Not the
stay.
strongest links. We've seen some links with Everton, but
Stay.
unsure how clear they are. What do you think? Stay or go?
Stay, man.
Ben, let's give you the deciding one as a Spurs fan for this one.
I think he should probably... He doesn't look happy, I think, at the moment. I think if Spurs would...
He looked happy the other day when he took his shirt off.
I think if Spurs were able to bring in another striker in January... I like Richarlison, I just don't think it's worked out to the level that we thought it was going to. He's chipped in with a few goals this season. He's been disappointing in terms of his overall play. He looks like he's cutting a frustrated figure on the pitch at the moment. If Spurs can bring in a striker, and maybe he could go... Like, Everton need a number 9. And I feel like at home... he feels maybe a little bit more at home there. He's got great connection with the fans. Yeah. I would probably be looking to move on if I was him in January.
Oof. We'll give you this one because we gave Robbie Guehi, so where do you go?
I'm interested in what you say.
I'd keep Richarlison.
I think I would probably look to keep him, but if we could get, say, Ivan Toney, for example, or someone else in January, I think...
All right, we'll give you this one.
That's a lot of striker options that
Oh,
you're going to
There
have.
we have it. Wow.
Okay, yeah. I mean, lots of January rumours bubbling away on the surface, so maybe we'll go back to some of these over the next couple of weeks in the
good
future.
shout.